Before we step back into the gates of the Missouri State Penitentiary for Part 2, we have an urgent broadcast. On June 17, 2026, a violent tornado struck ASHMORE Estates, the legendary Illinois almshouse and psychiatric facility that is incredibly high on our Crypt Walkers' radar. This very active and very famous paranormal hotspot has been featured on every paranormal TV show known to man. The storm blew out windows and battered the building. The roof is secured for now, but they desperately need help funding critical repairs to the historic brickwork before the elements destroy it. Our friends over at Haunted Soulz Paranormal are stepping up, and they need your help to make a difference. Right now, they are running an exclusive emergency relief raffle where 100% of the proceeds go directly to rebuilding ASHMORE Estates. Tickets are just $20 each. That's right, just $20. And buying one enters you to win a massive paranormal prize package. One lucky winner gets 2 tickets to a real full access investigation at ASHMORE Estates overnight with Haunted Soulz Paranormal on September 5th, 2026. Guys, this is a total value of $150, all for just a $20 ticket. Plus, winners get free body cam use so that you can keep footage of your investigation. And for an extra bonus, winners will receive 2 official ASHMORE t-shirts of their choosing. The live drawing is July 21st, 2026. So, head over to hauntedsoulz.com right now or by clicking the link in the show notes of this episode to buy your $20 ticket and enter your chance to win. Support this historic building and win the hunt of a lifetime. Support ASHMORE. Investigate the unknown. Now, back to the show.
Welcome to Crypt Walkers, the podcast where the eerie and enigmatic come to life. Hosted by Ryder, a police officer and paranormal investigator with a lens for the unexplained. Open the crypt. Come take a walk with us.
Hey guys, and welcome back to part 2 of our case episode on the Missouri State Penitentiary. In part 1 of our deep dive into the prison, we unraveled the bloody, centuries-old foundation of what Time magazine once labeled the bloodiest 47 acres in America. We mapped out the riots, the executions, and the extreme isolation of the dungeon-like cells. But history only tells half the story. To understand what lingers within those massive limestone walls, you have to look at the activity that is being captured to this day. Joining us inside the vault for part 2 are Dan and Maddie, the lead investigators behind Haunted Soulz Paranormal. They have spent serious time inside documenting the aggressive residual energy and tracking the serious shadow anomalies that refuse to leave. So, Dan, Maddie, welcome to Crypt Walkers.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been great so far. If our listeners, they don't realize we've probably been talking for at least an hour and a half before we hit record. So
all about true crime.
All about
all about true
everything.
crime too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So let us know in the comments if you want Crypt Walkers to do a little bit more true crime. We had a little bit of small taste with Villisca, but these guys, I should just point out, they have a podcast of their own. You should check them out as well. Their link will be in the show notes. And they cover topics like that with true crime, things like that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, I know a little bit about you guys, but could you tell me a little bit about yourselves? So,
Yes. I'm Dan. I am the founder and owner of Haunted Soulz Paranormal. I've been doing this for about almost 10 years. My first event or first ghost hunt was Missouri State Penitentiary. That's where it all started for me. I was hooked after that night. And then I worked for a company that did a lot of events there exclusively, and I worked a lot of nights with them investigating. And then I broke off and started Haunted Soulz, and we've been doing for the last 3 years.
Mhm.
We've done like 4 events there. We did 1 our first year, and then 2 last year, and 1 this year. So, yeah, I'm not a professional with it, but I have been spent a lot of time and done a lot of investigating
A
there.
lot of dark
So,
places.
yeah,
A lot of time in the dark.
yeah, a lot of the time in the
10
dark.
years in the dark. I'm Maddie. I've been doing this for more than 6 years now. I would say probably if you've done it 10, I've done 8. You've done 2 years before me. But as a young kid, I was experiencing weird things. I was dreaming about my aunt passing away, saw her in my dream that she told me she passed away or whatever. And then when I
Wow.
was little, my dad's father passed away before I was even born. One day he pulls out a picture of him and I said, "That's, Papa Joe." And he's like, "How do you know that?" And I was like, "I play with him." And then I was the weird kid that always got the weird, spooky ghost books at school and elementary school, and all the kids are getting like the princess books, and I'm getting the weird ones. I was the weird kid.
Yeah.
And so I started out doing true crime, and then it went into the paranormal. And my dad's like, "Hey, you want to go to MSP? Missouri State Penitentiary?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And
That's
he
always an
took me to
interesting
my
question for your
yes.
dad to go,
He
hey,
was
do you
like,
want to go to prison?
"Do you want to go to a penitentiary, Madison? Do you want
Yeah.
to spend your week in that?" And I was like, "Sure, why not, Dad? Thanks." And that was my first ever investigation as well. And I was hooked from then. And I was like, I want to do this. It's so much different than what you see. And it was also something that brought me and my dad's relationship closer. And
Mhm.
it's been a fun ride after almost 4 years.
I mean, that's a really cool story, that it kind of drew you guys together. And
Yeah.
especially in a world where, yeah, we have the para community, I guess you could say, which is a bunch
Yeah.
of people like ourselves that kind of all, explore
Yes.
the supernatural. But it's difficult to find that in your own family, you know.
Yeah.
I even have people in my family who are supportive in what I do, but like I can't sit there and have a long-winded conversation like we've been doing literally for the past hour and a half before we hit record. Um, it takes a certain type of person that can
Yeah.
have those type of conversations. So it's nice to see that a father-daughter group, together. So
Yeah,
now you
not
guys,
many 22-year-old daughters can say that they spend multiple times a week with their father for multiple hours.
For paranormal.
For
Yeah.
paranormal, between podcasts and going on investigations, we spend a lot of time together. Not every 22-year-old daughter can say that about their father, that they enjoy doing it.
yeah, 9 times out of 10 when you're in your 20s, it's I'm going to get as far away from my parents as I possibly can get. Yeah.
Yes.
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 So you
Yes,
guys,
so much.
you guys got into paranormal investigating, but you guys also do like a tour group of your own. When did that come
Yes.
about? Like, when did you guys start that up?
So, when I worked for a big company that did events. They're called overnight paranormal events, investigations. I worked for them. They were a pretty big company in the United States.
Mhm.
And then they kind of fizzled off and everything. And it was more like they wanted more quantity over quality. And
Mhm.
me and a friend of mine that worked for them said, "Hey, we could do this ourselves. We'll just give out more." We wanted more quality than quantity. So we made the
Mhm.
group smaller and, where people got, they weren't on top of each other. They could get good EVPs. So that's how Haunted Soulz Paranormal started. And it's just gone from there. So what our events are we rent out haunted locations. You buy a
Mhm.
ticket, you come with us, we show you the hot spots and the most activity.
Mhm.
We teach you how to use the lovely equipment you see on TV and the TV shows and TikTok. And we have other stuff too that you don't see. And then after we go through that and teach you, we loan you that equipment and you get to go out and be your own investigator for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that you guys are willing to do it in smaller groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you guys aren't just, hey, let's pack the whole bus full of people, essentially. Not saying that you guys have a bus, but you know what I'm saying. Pack everybody
Yeah.
in like
I would love
sardines.
to have a
And
bus.
Be a lot
That'd be
easier.
cool.
Yeah, it's more of like the quantity. We like the quality over the quantity. We really haven't had anybody, not to toot my own horn or nothing, but we've never had a bad review saying, "Oh no, don't go use them because
They have too many
they
people.
have too
there,
many
man.
people there."
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Hey, we like Haunted Soulz because they don't have a lot of people there."
Yeah.
We get a good investigation
Even
and stuff like
and
that.
that's just like the main like how many tickets we like want to sell is like
Mhm.
not a lot. But even like when we're working to like get in the small groups to learn the equipment, we're like at MSP, we don't like to go over 15 people in a group
Oh, that's a
because
good
I
number.
want to make sure that you have a big enough group to where you get the energy up, right? But
Mhm.
you don't want to have I want to make sure that I can talk to everybody, make sure that everyone can ask their questions, or make sure that I can get every single person involved in that rotation to learn that
Mhm.
equipment and to learn how to have fun with the paranormal.
Yeah.
We like
I-
and go on.
Well, I was going to mention something about the Queen Mary, but go ahead.
No, it's just it's good. Like people are like, well, why should we go with you? If you've never been ghost hunt and you want to try it out, this is your way to do it because it's a cheaper way to doing it and have to rent out a whole location. Sorry,
I think there's a dog
dog's
somewhere in the
upstairs.
back.
It's a German Shepherd, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
she lets everybody know that somebody's in the neighborhood. So if you don't have equipment, you don't really know what you want to experience with it.
Mhm.
We advise you to come to ours because we give you the equipment, we teach you how to do it, we send someone out with you if you're still not uncomfortable if you're uncomfortable with not doing it by yourself. We'll send one of our affiliates with you to make sure that you're good, and we want to make sure that you're okay to go out by yourself. If you're not, we will make sure that we set you up, so you don't freak out or
Yeah.
you're not scared or you know
There's a
what you're
safety
going to
net.
do. So yeah,
Yeah, there's a
something,
safety net. I like that. I've been on one tour before. I was going to mention the Queen Mary, but there's actually another location. I won't mention the name because we were literally just talking about that location.
Oh, you're fine. You
prior
can.
to.
That's all right.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Lint Mansion. I went there
Yes.
about 10 years ago, and one thing that I had an issue with, but it was really cool too. Like I want to say that they did a really cool thing, but the problem is it's such a really small space. So they gave everybody a night vision camera
Yes.
who don't know anything about the paranormal. And now all of a sudden they've seen nothing but ghost adventures and ghost hunters, and they don't understand how a light works. And so now you're split off into this mansion that's really small when you think about it.
Yep.
There's like 8, 9 people, and they're all pointing these night vision cameras all over the place. So now you're getting all these lights and shadows and crap. And everybody's going, oh my God, look at that. It's a shadow figure. Look, we're going to have to play that back. And I'm like, no.
It's the IR light
It's
off
the
of
IR
somebody
light.
else's
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there does come a point where it's like sometimes, I mean, I'm sure you guys run into this where you almost have to adjust per the location,
Mhm.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I mean, MSP, I'm assuming could handle a little bit more people,
Yeah.
because you
You
can get
max
spread out.
at 100 people.
And that's really
Oh,
max
wow.
out. Like if
Yeah.
we have a little under, I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
good.
the last time I think we had 75 2 weeks ago. So it
Those
was
are
nice
good.
and good. Everybody was comfortable. And MSP is big enough to where if you have people like 75, no one is overlapping each other.
No.
There's plenty of spaces. When you go smaller, like our next coming event is like Ray County Museum outside Kansas City. We do like 30 people. We break it off there. Same with like St. Joe, our Glore Psychiatric Museum. It's about the same. We do about 25 to 30 people and stuff.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, like you said, you just have to adjust for it. Well, I guess we'll dive into it with Missouri State Penn. So the first time that you guys ever entered there, what was your thoughts?
You walk up to that building and I was like, we walked up and I was like, whoa. Like not even pulled up to the building. You're turning on that street and you're seeing that tower guard or that guard tower. And you're like, oh, this is real. Especially me, like I've never been that close to a prison. I'm like, whoa. Like you just see and you can just tell how old the building is just by the guard tower. And then you pull straight up and you look at the building and you're just looking up and you're just like, wow,
Yeah.
this place is massive.
Yep.
You get that immediately eerie feeling. You're like, this place is old. And it's like, I always say you can like feel the energy coming off of those stones. Like, you know how many people say like if the trees could talk? If those stones could talk.
The walls.
If the walls could talk. Like you can just immediately feel you're like, oh yeah. And just by the look of it, you're like, this place was not meant for
Yeah.
it was not meant for anything good
Yeah.
at all.
And you can also imagine that, like walking up to it and being like, I'm never going to leave here.
Yep. Oh,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because you see the wall like that. That's the, like what she said, when you turn on, can't think of the name of the street now. I was just there. But when you turn it on, you see that the first guard tower is what you see in the corner of the yard. And then you drive down the front and then you see the entrance in the building and stuff. When you walk in that entrance, there's like the whole glass bubble. The gate is right there. When you first walk in, it has a metal gate that slides. It still slides. If you're lucky, they'll let you push the button to open it and close it. It's really cool. But it's a metal door that slides open when you come in there. It's like, I guess that's where the entry was for. They would come in for visitations and stuff. That's where people would come in, the front, and everything.
Wow.
So when you first walk in there, it's like it hits you like
It's immersive.
you're in a prison. Yeah, you're not. you're in a prison. It's concrete and walls, and it smells old. And then once you walk through and you get out into the courtyard, then you're like, oh wow, there's a lot of buildings.
And
There's
then
a lot of.
they have a photo. Every time I go there, the 6 times I've been there, I've done it. There's a photo in the lobby of all the buildings that it used to be. And the state has actually come in and like tore it down, a lot of the buildings. And you're like, whoa, this place was even bigger. And you're
Really?
just like, you're just in awe. Every time you go there, you're just like in awe.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't matter how many times you've been.
Yeah, when you go in the lobby, there is a picture of the original, all the buildings that were there on property when it was a functioning, big time jail. And the state has tore down a lot because they're starting to sell some of the property, and other people are starting to build on the property. And then some buildings were just falling apart and stuff. So
I think there was a tornado that came through there too and did a lot of damage.
Yeah, and on A Hall, it ripped the roof off of A Hall. That's now fixed and back open. So now that's another building you get to go in, which has a lot of history in that because the boxer was there, stayed there. Firefly was down in the dungeons there, and stuff like that. So, but I keep asking every time I go if they're going to open up, because when you walk like to their gift shop, there's another pathway that goes down the hallway and it leads to the infirmary where the hospital was. And that building's still sitting. And I can just only imagine the energy down there because of the people that were like shivved or, beat up, whatever, that just or weren't taken care of the right way. Just that kind of energy is down in that building.
Yeah.
So the infirmary is still there?
Yes, that hospital part is still there, yes.
They haven't tore that down yet.
Yes. So that goes down if you remember where like the Johnny on the Spots are, and then that little that thing that goes down to A Hall there, that building that runs along there is the tunnel to the infirmary there. That's that big building that's past A Hall there.
Oh man, they've got to open it, because if they open it, I mean, you could get teams in there at least before it closes, and they tear it down.
I don't think they'll ever tear it down. It's connected to the main building. So I think that building will never be, you never know, but I mean, just it's crazy that they have another building, and then all the other buildings that were up there that they have already tore down is crazy.
Yeah. So what was your thought when you first walked in? You specifically? Dan?
I was I came into this as a skeptic. I know Madison had a couple things as a child. I had an experience as a kid, as a teenager with a friend of mine in school. His house had a ghost. I really wasn't on that full whole, like, hey, paranormal spirits, I was very skeptic. So when I came in, I was kind of amazed because it was my first time being in a penitentiary. That kind of hits you a different way too, because it's a big, and then you think, well, these people were locked up and, a lot of murderers and people that committed crimes and people that didn't commit crimes were there by the wrong, so I didn't really have an eerie feeling, but it was very intriguing of like what I was going to explore that night and what I was going to find. Yeah. Wow. And let me tell you, it was like 2 hours in and I was
like, all right,
it was like, all right, this is very interesting what's going on here. I can't explain some of the things that I saw or experienced. And then I started questioning a lot. And yeah,
Here
I was hooked. I was hooked after I admit after the first night I was there, I was hooked.
Yep.
Paranormal was my thing. That's
now,
my calling.
Since you got a lot of experiences and stuff, I just have to ask, mostly I'm sure our listeners are curious. The environment as far as like who runs the prison, do you ever get a vibe from them that they kind of interfere with anything or to, boost the hype? No? Okay, they just let it be?
They are some of the most respectful building, because the state owns it. So they are like I'll call them just the caretakers of the prison. They are some of the most respectful people of that building. And they're one of the people that I've met that actually truly care about those spirits. And they're like, we don't need to do anything. The building speaks and the spirits speak for themselves. They're like, we've never had to like try to amp up the spirits, try to get to nothing. They were just like, they do it on their own.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sheila is in charge there. Sheila is the girl that you talk to about events. And then you have Reese and Jenny. And Jenny has been there a long time as a thing. And I think she was I want to say, no, maybe she wasn't. I thought she was a correctional lady there. I'm not sure. But they have some people that were correctional officers there. But they love the building. If you say anything bad, like you're saying the wrong history, they will call you out on it and make sure that you have the right history about it. So a lot of the history that I have learned is from Jenny and Reese and Sheila. Because when we worked there before with this other company, they wanted to make sure that we were saying the right history, and not telling people false narratives and stuff like that. So, the people that work for them are they love that building. They love doing their doing. Yeah, they love it. They do it, they love the place. It's just.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear, because you do hear some stories, and I won't mention locations, but basically where it's like either A, they're right on your tail the whole time, so they don't really let you investigate. 2, whatever you do investigate, they won't let you show anything because it doesn't fit their narrative, so it's like there's a lot, so I'm happy to hear that, Missouri State Penitentiary is, for now and has been a good location for the investigator, if that makes sense. So
yes,
another reason why if you guys haven't, you guys need to check out Missouri State Penitentiary, because I have been there once. And it was an interesting experience for me. We'll dive a little bit more into that later. But as far as you guys, over the years, like what was some of the things that you encountered the most of, or like what was your hot zone?
It's mostly been, for me, the shadows, the creepy crawler and
D3.
In D3, we both have seen the shadow turn into a dog and pace the doorway. So we had talked previously, because you kind of know what we're talking about. How you followed back around D3 to the back there were dead ends. We were back there doing a census thing.
We were sitting on right by the windows.
The windowsills there are kind of. He was in the dark, so he might not know.
There's windowsills.
There's windowsills right across
definitely
the
in the
cells
dark
there.
There's
windowsills across the steps there because they're on the ground. So we were sitting there, and you could see the shadow like a dog on all fours, like crawl from the doorway, crawl back to the doorway, and it would sit there
And then it would like move up on the doorway, and then
Yeah.
it would like, it was like weird because I was sitting there and I was like, Dad, I was like, what is that? I was like, it's just my eyes. Next thing
Have
you
you
know,
seen
the
that too?
whole group is looking down there and seeing it.
Yeah. Now I've
Oh
seen
my
that thing
goodness.
come up and go up because death row is right above it.
Mhm.
So I've seen it come up to death row and climb up on the wall and onto the ceiling.
Yeah.
That shadow.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't seen it done that, and I'm glad.
I'm not gonna lie. I would need to take a moment to process that. If I saw that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go ahead and tell you my story because we're alluding to it now. If you guys heard in part 1, it's funny because I'm actually recording this before we recorded part 1. But because now we're recording this, I'm going to go ahead and make a decision right now. I won't tell you my story in part 1, so you have to listen to part 2. So congratulations, people who are listening to part 2. Now you're going to get the story. So, if that was not confusing enough. So D3, I was with a group called Forgotten Soulz Paranormal, and it's a very small group. I was the youngest guy in the group. Not that it really means anything. But I decided, at the time I was going to bring my camera. I had a night vision camera, and I was going to I was just going to document everything that we did, if that makes sense. So we were down in D3, and I remember there was like a staircase, fancy staircase. There was like a lobby area, or it jutted off. I forget exactly how it went, but I was in a lobby area. And off to my left was a small, skinny staircase that went straight into the ground, essentially. And then there was a long hallway. Once you were on that level, it was a long hallway, a bunch of rows of cells on the right, and then it loops back around. Okay. I didn't know that at the time. At the time of this story, I was focused on some room that was off to the right. I forget what it was. It makes me think of a shower room or something. And I had my camera, and I was facing it this way. And one of our investigators, his name was Rob Roberts. I heard his voice to my left, but I couldn't understand exactly what he was saying. So I'm looking down at the night vision camera. So keep in mind, it's pitch dark. The only thing I can see is what's from this camera. I look up. I'm like, okay, my eyes are adjusted enough. I look over and I see a shape that I'm believing is Rob. And this figure, and it was his silhouette. I swear it was his silhouette. Is going down the stairs at that point. So I'm watching him disappear down the stairs. I go and follow him because I'm assuming, okay, we're going to go down here now. And by the time I hit the stairs, I could still hear his voice, but he sounds like he's far off down the corridor. So I am paying attention to the staircase. I'm not looking at the camera. If I had looked at the camera, this would be a completely different story. So I'm just following him, and I could still see his form at the end of the hall. I see him cut around the corner. I'm walking past these cells like la-di-da-di-da-di-da, following him all the way around, and I go around the U-shaped, whatever you want to call it, and then all of a sudden it ends. Like there's a dead end. Where the hell was Rob? Okay. Instantaneously, I get this very eerie feeling of like, and I'm not saying it's paranormal, maybe it was just my own emotions.
Mhm.
You are in a spot you should not be. Who are you? Get out. And I tell
Yep.
you what, the amount of eyes that I felt like people were peering on me, I took off and, well, I basically ran back to that staircase. And as I got up, I forget how I got to it, but there was a big atrium. I think it's in that building. A big atrium that has a bunch of white staircases, and it's lit up. They actually have it lit up. And it was like the main entrance, if that makes sense. It's a big...
Yeah, that's where you come into the building there.
Okay, yeah. And that's where I saw Rob and the tour guide and the other guys, and I'm like, how the hell did you beat me? And Rob goes, what are you talking about? And I said, down there. How did you get up here? And they're like, dude, we weren't there at all. And I'm like, okay, whatever, you're just picking on the new guy, because I was kind of newer to their team. And the tour guide, who was there just kind of making sure, we didn't break the place, she goes, no. He's been up here the whole time because he's been talking with me. And I kind of like freeze. And she goes, you met the doppelganger. I said, I met the who now?
The what?
And
I'm sorry,
I met
who's here?
Who?
Is that another tour guide?
Yeah. And no, so then I heard about the doppelganger, which obviously, if you guys listen to part 1, I went into detail on the doppelganger. But understand that at the time that I went into the Missouri State Penitentiary, I did not know the history. I did not know anything about it other than it was a prison and that people died in the gas chamber. That's it. So, yeah, that was my experience. And that's why I fully believe you guys that there's just something else.
Oh, there's something down there.
There is. There was one incident. It was the second time I went. And I think this comes from me. It's a family thing. My grandma, my great grandma, she used to see things, and she used to actually see dead people, like literally like everyday life. My mom she's an empath, so I feel like I get it from my family. And I don't have like the ability to really see them, but I know they're there. And we were down there, and they sometimes, if you're at a different event, we do it sometimes, where there's a chair all the way down at the dead end. Everyone else stays back here, and they send you down there to see if they can see shadows walking or if they see anything. And they were sending people down, and I just got this immense fear. Like, I wanted to cry. Now, for all those people who like know me, I'm the scaredy pants of our of our team. But this is when I was brave. This was like my second time being there. I was brave, and I got this immense fear, and I like latched onto my dad, and I like I had a tear rolling down. I was like, I'm scared. I don't want to move, but I wanted to go down there. And they were like, my dad's like, do you want to go down there? I'm like, I don't want to go down there alone. At the time, my brother was with us, and he was like, go down there and protect your sister. And I was walking down, and I was like, it was the same thing. I felt those eyes. Like, they were watching me, and they were like, oh, who is this little lady being here? And I sat down in the chair, and he kind of sat next to me, and he put his arm on my leg, and it was like gone. And I was like, I'm fine. Like, the weirdest feelings you get down there, it's undescribable unless you felt it.
I did not feel anything the whole time that I thought I was following Rob. It was only till I got to that dead end, which I don't remember if there was a chair or not. There might have been.
There's sometimes it's either out in the hallway or it's sitting in the shower. That's a shower at the very end of that where it dead ends. To the right is a shower room.
Yeah.
That's where they take the showers down there.
Yeah. So I didn't feel anything until almost like I was already had, if that makes sense. Because speaking of the camera, so when I reviewed the footage, you hear me react to Rob. You hear me talking to Rob. And then all you see is just blank footage, because it's night vision, blank footage of, sometimes it looking down at my feet as I'm going down the stairs, and then it pops back up, and then you just see really crappy found footage style, back and forth, rocking back and forth as I'm just walking towards because I'm not paying attention to the camera. I'm looking out. So in the camera, all you see is it just looks like I'm just walking down the corridor, following literally nothing. So that's why if I had looked down at my camera, because I would have sworn to you he was right there. Like, I could see he had his hat on. His hat was pulled back. It had the brim back. It said, I could barely make out the, FSP, and his build, everything. I could see that. I don't know, like
it.
We had the one time we were down there also, remember? Do you know what the laser, when they use a laser grid, it looks like?
So I use the very old school where it's on a pin. Now they have, I guess, more advanced.
It gives you like 100 dots everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So when you set it down and you push it down a hallway, these dots light up the whole hallway of like green or red. And you can see when people walk in front, the dots will disappear, or a shadow will, it will take out the dots of, when someone's standing there. And we had the chair and nobody was sitting in the chair, and we had the laser grid and it was the outline of a person sitting in the chair. Was gone. The dots weren't on the chair or nothing. It was, and that's what started the whole thing. Like, she wanted to go down there and people wanted to go down there and sit, because when we first got there and started investigating, that's the first thing we did. And then we saw the image in the chair of a person sitting there.
That's right.
And stuff. And then it left, and then everybody was like, well, I want to go down there and check it out. And we're like, all right, we'll go down there and do your thing. We tell people. And we were guests at that time. We weren't even we weren't running an event. We were guests. So, we were pretty much like, let's just go down there and check it out. We get so much people come back from D3, and there's so much. Just to give people that are listening what D3 is about, it's like under the jail. It's underground.
Yeah.
You're like underground, because when you first walk into the building, you're level, right? You said with the white stairs, because then you go up the steps, and that's general population on both sides up there. So when you first walk in, you're on ground level. You go to the left and you walk down underground. That level there, where you said you were in the lobby there, that's death row on both sides.
Yeah, there was like a separate.
You walk down like into death row. There's a lobby there.
There was like a lobby, and then there's another lobby, and then there was the thing. Yeah.
Right. So then if you walk to the left, there's that stairs that go down to D3, and they go down underground. Those cells are only 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And they used to put 12 people in a cell at times. Can you imagine? Like, I'm 6 foot. I would have to either lay on the floor or sit on the floor constantly, because I wouldn't be able to stand up in the cell. And that's where you would go if you were bad.
I always say it's the solitary confinement before solitary confinement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so much, there's so much energy there, because death row is right above it.
Yeah.
And you're talking about people that knew that they were never coming, they were not leaving that prison. They were on death row. So there's so much energy in between those two floors that's just, people come and are like, oh my God, we got this, or we felt this. And your doppelganger, I've had a friend of mine, she experienced the same thing. She was walking up those steps, like coming to those steps, and she passed a girl that was coming down the steps that was walking like backward, like kind of like you were walking to that around that corner. And she passed her and saw her and just like, hey, and they're like, hey. And then she walked up the steps and she's got up to that lobby, and the girl's up there, and she's like, wait a minute. I just passed you. How did you get up? I just saw you down there. And she's like, no, I've been up here the whole time. So that was my first experience with the doppelganger, when she told me about that incident she had. And then
she doesn't get freaked out.
And then, and she don't get freaked out. This girl is like stoned. She's just weird. She is. But when we talked and you had that, I was like, oh yeah, the doppelganger on D3, it's a real thing. So,
and that's just one location in it.
Yeah, that's just one spot of the prison.
I was just about to ask, is it only that location, or is it other parts of the prison where you see the doppelganger?
I haven't seen it anywhere else.
No
one ever else I've known that I've experienced or I've heard, it's always been there.
Now the crawler has now kind of lately, people have been seeing it on death row as well. Like how we kind of like we just said, like sometimes those energies bleed within each other. So sometimes people say that they see the crawler on death row as well. But it kind of, that energy, that type of energy in that situation kind of stays right in there. And then you have the other location, general population, women's, A-Hall. They all have their separate.
Yeah, they have their own separate ghosts.
Their own separate.
The ghosts don't seem to. Yeah, they stay in their own sections.
Yeah,
I don't think they roam, except the one. The one ghost roams.
Yes,
and I have a weird story about that one. a friend of mine, if you want me to tell, I don't know
Well,
if it's
Yeah,
I'll
no, go
just-
ahead.
Can I say this real quick?
Alright.
The last time we were there, it seems like they don't know that they still feel like they're trapped. Like they are still in prison. Like, and I think that's why some of them just stay there in the
Yeah.
same area because they still feel like
home.
this is where I am. I'm never leaving here.
Well,
And
they
I
talk
don't know
about-
if they can.
They talk about how some people go back to where they feel most at home. I mean, if
Yep.
you get to a point where that's your home and that's where it's screwed up. But I mean, trauma is an
Yeah.
interesting thing. You experience enough trauma, eventually trauma feels like home.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we've
That's the
talked
only
to
thing
some
you know.
spirits, and they said that they didn't die there.
No.
We've asked them like, "Hey, did you pass away here?" And they're like, "No." We're like, "Did you come back?" And they said, "Yes."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like they came back there because I guess maybe they spent 20, 30 years there,
Yeah.
and and then you got released as an older person. Then that was your life. I mean, you lived there. That was
Makes
home.
me think of what's the movie? Shawshank Redemption.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Makes me think of, I won't do any spoilers, but you know who I'm talking about. The character, the old
Yes.
man, he gets out, has issues. Yeah.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
he's been
You know,
there
you can go
since-
investigate that where they filmed that movie, right?
You can go investigate there?
Yeah, where
Really?
they filmed the movie Shawshank Redemption, the prison.
Yeah.
It's an
in,
actual. it's
it's in
Madison.
Ohio. Is it? Is it in
Yeah,
Ohio?
you can go
or-
Madison. It's Madison. No, it's what's that guy's name?
Mm.
I can't remember the
don't
name
know.
of it. But
Never
yeah,
seen
it's open. It's Madison something, Ohio. It's not a It's not a penitentiary though.
They call it something else.
Yeah, they call it something else. I can't remember what it is. But that's where they filmed the movie. You can go and investigate there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they
now
have an
it's on
actual
my
haunted
bucket
house
list.
there too.
Now
Yeah,
that is
we even
on
wanted to go
my
there
bucket
too.
list.
I love that movie. I forgot what the story I was going to tell.
The spirit that roams.
Oh yes. So I have a photo. A buddy of mine, we're working for the company that I said we worked for, that me and him started, Haunted Soulz or whatever. He was there doing a rotation one night, and before he always does his rotations, he talks to his wife, and then he takes a picture of where he's working, because we'd go in and we kind of prep up the area, say, hey, we're going to be bringing some of our friends here tonight, please be nice, be active with them and everything. And he said he was walking out and he's like, oh, I forgot to take a picture. And he turned around and just snapped a picture of general population. He posts this picture on Facebook, and then me and my son are looking at his post and we're like, holy crap. And I'm like, what? And he's like, he blows it up and he has captured an apparition standing on the walk thing, wearing prison stripes
Mm-hmm.
and a hat,
Really?
prison striped hat, like a bucket hat. And it looks like a African American.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like
It's a prisoner.
it's a prisoner.
No doubt. Hands down.
Hands down, full body apparition, standing there facing
Oh
the
my
cell
God.
like he's walking
Like
into
he's
the
walking
cell.
away. Yeah.
You're walking into the cell in general population, and you blow it up, and it's
there.
a full. It's once in a lifetime type photo.
Hey, dude, me
it's
too.
just it's just crazy. So
9 times out of 10, the ones that you capture are the ones I didn't mean to.
One of the fascinating things about the paranormal community is everyone has a story. Listener files are officially back here on Crypt Walkers, and I want to tell your story. If you've had a brush with the unexplained, seen something that defies rationale, or experienced something spooky, email me at contact@cryptwalkers.net. Just make sure to put listener file in the subject line, and let me know how you want to be credited, whether it's your real name, a pseudonym, or if you prefer to remain completely anonymous. I don't know, man. It's your story. I'm just here to tell it. Now, back to the show.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So
Yeah.
100%.
so forward last year, we find a gentleman. We call him
We call him,
Prisoner Paul.
yep.
He spent 12 years at Missouri State Penitentiary, and he was one of the last prisoners that was there before they moved across to the new prison
In 04.
in 04. And he was one of the very last, because they had a party there in A Hall. He stayed in A Hall there, and he had a party there. Was that yours?
I think my thing accidentally for some reason.
Oh, that was weird. It said, "Hey," I was like, but we had him on a podcast, and he was talking about Missouri State Penitentiary and his time there. And he's like, we were like, well, did you see anything? Have you ever seen an apparition? You know, have you seen things? He's like, well, one night I was laying in bed, and he goes, I heard somebody walking, and I kind of set up my bed, and he says, I saw this prisoner walk across my cell in front, outside in the hallway.
Wow.
And he said he was wearing prison stripes. I said, stop right there. Don't say nothing else. And I got my phone and I showed him my picture, and he's like, yeah, that's the guy. And he actually saw the same, but he was in A-Hall and this was in Gen Pop. So that one might be moving, but he said he saw exactly the same guy with the hat, everything,
and
stripes.
his cell is on the end.
Yeah, his cell is all the way at the end because we actually went in his cell that he stayed in.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. That's really weird to see a guy that spent time there. He was sitting in his cell.
And he saw the spirit go from this end to like the dead end. So there would be no reason why a prisoner would. He goes, and we didn't even wear colors at that time.
That's an old. I even asked the workers there, and they said that's the old prison uniform that they used to wear back in like 1920s. You know, back in the day when they did a lot of farm work back there when they worked the fields and stuff there. But yeah, that was crazy. That validation of that he saw the same apparition that this guy captured on a buddy of mine.
Do you have access to that? Would he be interested?
Oh yeah, I have that photo. Oh yeah.
Okay. Sorry guys, because I'm so terrible with social media. You'll notice that every case that we've done so far has been terrible as far as social media. I will do my best to make sure that this is posted at least on the Facebook. If we get access to the photo, because that'd be really cool to see. So
yeah. I got some really cool photos of a lot of them. Some of the people that have sent me, because we always tell people to take photos in threes. And if you're listening, if you ever go to paranormal and you're doing it, take 3 photos, like click, 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 click. Because if you do capture something, either something before or after is not there no more. So you can judge like, well, it wasn't in this picture. It's in this picture. Now it's not in this picture, you know?
Yeah.
I have a picture of, we use mag lights. If you ever used the mag light, it's the mag light that has to twist at the top, the original mag light people. And if you barely turn it off and you lay it down, the ghost can touch it and make the connection and turn the mag light on. So we communicate with it. We ask it yes, no questions. I have a picture of a mag light sitting on a bed, one of the bunk beds. And the first picture, it's off. The second picture, there's a white, like, looks like an arm type fog.
Mist thing.
Really?
Like coming from the vent, coming out and touching the flashlight, and the flashlight's on.
Wow.
And then the next picture, the flashlight's on, but the mist is gone.
See, I would be able to say that was tangible. My only issue is I'm like 50-50 when it comes to the flashlights. I'm 50-50. I really like it if, like in your case, where you had something that accompanied it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I love it when a flashlight goes off and like a millimeter starts freaking the heck out, or a REM pod starts doing weird stuff. Because then I'm like, okay, great, cool, you know? There's correlation. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine. He's a private investigator, and he's also a paranormal investigator on the side. And he told me something about the mag lights, about how if it turns on once, it's heated up on enough cycle to where even if you turn it off, it'll expand and contract over and over, and it could cause it to come on and off. But it's stuff like in your case where it's like, okay, there was something that went with it, you know?
Yes.
Yep.
The guest that was on before you, Rob Coakley, the last case that we did with Velisca, they had a situation where the flashlight came on, but at the same time, I believe it was a REM pod started going nuts. And the REM pod was fine. The flashlight was fine. There was nothing on, nothing. And then all of a sudden, both of them. So like tangible right there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of times where we have a flashlight and something else, and the flashlight goes off, but then like you said, it's close enough, like the REM pod should have went off too.
Yeah.
you know, or something
We're
like
very
that.
picky. Like,
We're very picky
unless,
with that.
like, there has been cases where that mag light, we're like, okay, there's no explanation of, like, we try to debunk it, and they're like, no, that was a very, like, clear as day mag light session. Like, they were answering questions that it was very accurate. But there's a lot of times mag light we're like, okay, yeah, we got the yes and no. We're like, I wouldn't really say that's like,
Yeah, if it comes on and stays on, we're like, okay, can you turn off? And it won't turn off for like a minute or so.
and then turns
Then
off.
it turns off. We kind of know, like, that's not, you know,
It's probably the connection.
it's probably the connection, because, you know, that's a big thing that people do say is that it does expand when you turn it like that. When it heats up, it will expand and make the connection that is not there, and it does turn on. A lot of things, like we had the last time we had a mag light session, we had the dead bell, and the dead bell was dinging as the mag light was coming on.
Yep.
So like you said, as a tangible, there was two things going on
Absolutely
at one
terrifying,
time.
by the way.
Do what?
A dead bell is absolutely terrifying, by the way.
It's terrifying when you forget that you have it.
Exactly. Yeah, and you just hear,
And all of a sudden you hear ding, 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 ding. You're like, oh my God. It makes us jump. I'm like, what? I'm like, Jesus, I forgot we had that and stuff. But we do a lot of, like, we try to say, like, okay, mag light, turn off in 3, 2, 1. And then sometimes it goes off, like, right when it does. So it's like, how is that right there at that moment in time? Is it a coincidence? Yeah. But
then we do other sequences.
we do other sequences. It's really hard. Sometimes it does it to me. I'll be like, 3, 2, 1, and it won't go off. Then it goes off like 3 seconds after I say it. I'm like, it just does it to me. It don't want to work for me when I want.
They that being said, what I literally just stated about the mag light, in my ghost hunting kit, as you'd call it, there's a mag light. So
love it though. You can use it as a flashlight too, a real flashlight.
You can use it as a flashlight, and
you're like, I can't find mine. Let me use the mag light.
Yeah. I always forget mine, and I'm like, oh, I got a mag light. Because I always have a mag light, because it's easy. It's just boop, and you can set it down, and it's a really cheap piece of paranormal equipment.
If you're just starting out,
take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is like, we used to, like, you give out a piece of equipment when you give us a driver's license, and we give you one. And then we figured out, you know, when someone's out in the prison doing something, or in a location investigating, and they're like, oh, we're having a really good session, I wish I had a mag light with us. And then by the time they come to us to get a piece of another equipment and they go back, it could be, you know, the whole atmosphere has changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, so we actually put a kit together that has a mag light, a K2, a cat ball, a recorder, goggles, headphones, and a thing for an Estes, and a REM pod. It all comes in the kit in a box, and we give you the box, so that way you have all your stuff, and you don't have to come back, so you can try all your equipment in that one area of stuff. Yeah. That sets us apart from other people.
I just have to ask, how many kits do you have? If you guys have
right now, we have
people
6.
potential. Okay. 6.
Well, when Missouri State, when Missouri does it, we have to split up.
We just have all of our equipment.
We just have all the equipment set up,
and then they do it piece by piece.
They do piece by. It's just too many people. I don't have 100 cases.
No.
That's a lot of money.
We're not $1 million company.
Good Lord.
But when you go to smaller ones, when you go to like the 30s and the 25 and the smaller ones, we have enough cases to give out and stuff. Because a lot of these people come with their own equipment too. So
yeah, sometimes it's like, hey, I just need that extra tool. You know.
Yeah.
That's the mechanic in me coming out. I just need that one socket wrench. I've got $800 worth of tools
had that
behind
one
me.
cat ball.
Yep, that one cat ball. But yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, it's a one pro, one con of the early mid 2000s ghost hunting shows craze is that it has allowed for technology to kind of grow, if that makes sense, because there was an interest in it. I am a believer in the SLS. Some people say that it's, wishy-washy or whatever, but I have seen an SLS locate things and see things that it wasn't supposed to. Yeah,
you have to be careful with it.
Yeah. So
because it does love to map out things that, like a chair, it'll tell you that it's a person, you know,
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah.
there, and it's like, okay, it's a chair, because it
Because it's
has
got
the
the
same
legs. Yeah.
right, and a pole will map out as a person, a skinny pole, you know, something that's straight edge
Yeah.
would map. I have people, like you said, there's people in this field that believe SLS is a joke. You know,
Yeah.
we have footage. One of our very first investigations,
Yeah.
we have footage with the SLS camera and a tripwire laying on the floor, and in the SLS camera, you see a spirit standing against the wall, and then every time he moves his foot on the SLS, the tripwire, like he's taking his foot and running it over the tripwire,
Mm-hmm.
and the tripwire
Yeah.
lights up every time. And I'm
I
like,
have seen
that's a little weird. You know, how do you say that's fake when, you know?
I've seen it where you catch an image and it's stable, and you say raise your right hand, and the thing raises its right hand. You know.
Exactly.
Now, for those of you who are new to paranormal investigating and you may not know what an SLS camera is, it's essentially a device that was created using multiple technologies. One was a computer interface with a screen, basically usually a tablet. And using coding and programming, it takes a signal input from a, what's it called? Xbox
Connect
camera. Yeah. So the data that camera sees, it's basically back when Xbox was really pushing out games where you could just stand in front of it. You didn't have to have a controller. You could just move your hands, arms, whatever, and it would do things. So they took that same piece of technology, they just ran it through a different coding software to allow you to visually see exactly what is going on, what it's reading. And its main purpose is to always map out. It uses like LiDAR, and it determines like distances based off of like when the lasers or whatnot reflect back. This is all invisible to the human eye. But what we're talking about, these images that we're seeing, is it'll draw like a stick figure when it thinks it's mapping out a person, because its main purpose is just to do that. So if you stood in front of the SLS, it would actually start mapping you out. What we're referring to is when it's mapping out usually a figure like a human, and there's nothing standing there. That's what's interesting. So,
and then like you said, then you tell it to raise its left hand, and then it'll raise its
left
left
hand. You're
hand
like,
and
okay.
wave, or
You're like, I don't
whatever.
think a polar chair is going to do
Yeah,
that.
a polar chair, or if it's sitting there and then all of a sudden you see it climb up a wall
and then disappear.
You're
like
that's not something I've seen that. I've seen that at ISS.
You're like, where'd it go?
It climbed up the wall, and it was sitting on the bench, and then it climbed up the wall, and then it disappeared. And I'm like, well, that wasn't mapping out a chair or nothing, because
did you guys ever catch any good stuff using the SLS at the MSP?
I've never used it at MSP.
No.
Really?
Yeah, I've never used it there. When I finally, I bought one. I mean, when they first came out, they were so expensive because it was something new. I tried to make it myself because they said you could download. Some guy gave me the information on what to download. I always had a really problem with one, and I bought one from somebody, and I always had a problem with it. The tablet wouldn't, run the right way, or it kept shutting down or stuff like that. So we eventually stopped really using it and taking it everywhere. I still have it, but I don't really take it anywhere. Now they have SLS X. They have a better version one now.
Yeah, it's more.
I don't even think it uses an Xbox Connect anymore. I think
it just uses the actual. Yeah,
they use it. They have a laser in it now, but we never.
It's
really
actually,
took that
believe
one.
it or not, the same technology that the police use.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't. Yeah, I don't. I've never taken it there. Maybe next time we have to take it. I used to carry it around all everywhere, and we never opened it up and used it anywhere.
So we're gonna not take it anymore.
Yeah. It sits in a box along with a bunch of other stuff.
The day comes when me and you guys are at MSP, and I'm gonna be like, "Hey, we need to bust that thing out."
You just let me know, and I'll bring it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, come on,
I've
Dan,
seen
bring out
people
the toys.
carrying around with them. Last 2 weeks ago when we were there was a couple people that were carrying around SLSXs.
I mean, it's kind of just like any other equipment that we use. Like when you get something, the first thing you do, or the first thing that we do is debunk. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's what the SLS camera, you just sit there and you're seeing something, you're like, okay, what's over there? You know, or, you know, you just kind of debunk it. And if you can't debunk it, then it's unexplained. It's the paranormal. It's not the normal.
I don't like the one that you can buy it as an app on your phone. I don't know how well that one is.
By the time this airs, we've already aired our first episode of Into the Crypt. That is actually a topic that I want to cover on Into the Crypt, is simply my hesitancy to rely on any sort of app from a phone.
Yeah.
Well, when you do that episode, you want to contact me, because I have a great story of an app that we use called the Spirit Talker.
Not solely use.
We use it a lot, but we debunked it, and what happened, what's the incidents that happened with this app, I can't debunk. I can't say it.
Really?
It just fascinates me. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's a good thing I'm talking, because like I could easily see, it's not projected to. We're not supposed to cover any of that. Probably. I mean, I have everything kind of laid out what I'm going to cover up until the end of the year. I don't think that's one of the topics. That's just one that I wrote down on a piece of paper for perhaps the future. I got to see, like, literally the first Into the Crypt has only just premiered. Like, so I got to see kind of how the audience even, cares for it. But I just realized that sometimes we use terminology as investigators, and there are people who are listening who are not, they're not privy to what that means,
Correct.
Yeah.
Like if we start talking about the limestone at MSP, if you're not familiar with the background behind limestone and its relations to paranormal activity, then you're like, okay, I don't understand what that means. So I feel like Into the Crypt is my way of being like slightly educational, if that makes sense. So
I like it.
Yeah. I just did a plug for a show that right now doesn't exist, but will exist by the time that you hear it. That's weird. I think I just did some sort of Twilight thing.
We do it. We do it all the time. We'll be talking on the podcast, and they're like, "Oh, let's write that down for our first show." Right. Yeah, and you can watch one of our shows. I think we explained the story about that app on one of our podcasts.
Well, we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about it because we've had a show about is apps legit? Are they not legit?
It's one of our unfiltered episodes.
Yeah, one of
Someone
our unfiltered
asked us about apps, and
I'm gonna have to have you guys on the show for that. Well, maybe we'll plan that as like one of the first multi-parter dives into the apps. Now, I will say, I do not have a history of using them, so I don't really have a background on them. I just have I have a sense of I don't know, you know what I mean? Because like a phone does so much, you know what I mean? Like a millimeter, I can't watch Netflix on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so,
and that's my whole story of like going through the steps of debunking, like, okay, wait a minute, now I heard this.
Yeah. Okay,
now, wait a minute, let's try this because he could do your location or, and stuff. And we went through, and then the incidents that we've had with it, I'm like, nah.
Explain this
can't
one.
Explain that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to see it I'll have to see it, witness it, if that makes sense. Try it out or something like that. Go out in the field.
I've used a lot. We've tried because, there's the Ghost Box. There's all kinds of different things and tons of apps because we do use an app that was a Windows-based app. And for, it was called Phasma Box.
Necrophilia?
Yeah.
What?
No,
what type of app is that?
there's actually an app called
like,
Necrophonics that we use too, and that's like it's speaking that the spirits can manipulate the ITC and stuff, and the word that has word banks in it, and they can manipulate and they can talk to you. We full-fledged have conversations, and people are like, yeah, okay, whatever, but some of the words and some of the things that come on when, Maddie's got headphones on and she's blindfolded, and she can't hear what we're asking, but she's answering our questions. It's like, how does that even happen? It's just people are like, oh, it's just a coincidence. I'm like,
I need you guys to watch the footage of my Estes session at the Sally house. Whenever we're not recording, I'll tell you more about it. But don't worry, guys. You listeners, you're gonna get it all at some point. But I want to wait until I actually do the Sally house episode. But yeah, the Estes session, that was the first time I was exposed to Estes, like being a part of it. I didn't even know it existed until that point. And the stuff that you witness, it's like, holy crap. Like,
that's the Estes queen there, man. She rocks on it. I love when she does it. I'm like, go on.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'm like, and then she comes out every time like,
Everyone's like, you're so good at it. I'm like, am I? I don't know.
Yeah, the Estes session, for those of you who are new, is simply you just use a spirit box, which is like either an SBS 7 or SBS 11. I guess you use that Necrophonics
or Phasma box.
Necrophonics device, yeah. And essentially you have a subject. Okay, not a subject because you're not. That's a police thing. Sorry. You have a person.
Just a person.
Person, not a subject. You have a person that's sitting, usually sitting. They have headphones on that are noise canceling, so you can't hear outside. You're only hearing what that device is telling you. And that person is also blindfolded, so they can't see and they can't hear. They can only hear what the device is saying. Then you have a questioner, the investigator, who is standing off to the side. I could say interrogator if I wanted to be back to police terminology. But you have the investigator who asks the questions. The answers come through the device. The person who's under Estes is what they call it. Will hear it, and all they'll do is just repeat what they heard. Now, it might sound like gibberish to them, like they're just saying random words because they have no idea what's being asked. But 9 times out of 10, you have somebody that's recording visually on the outside or whatever. You have witnesses, and it's a crazy experience. Estes is great. We're going to cover, I think we briefly covered Estes when we did the Stanley on Crypt Walkers, because Estes is actually a newer method, I guess you could say. Like,
it's a newer method.
Yeah. I mean, maybe 10 years old. I don't know. It came out of...
Oh, not even that. I would say probably 3 or 4.
Max.
Yeah,
really?
It's not been a big thing. And a lot of people don't know how to use it or do it the right. So
I would say when the YouTube paranormal started getting...
TikTok was a big thing too.
Before that it was YouTube.
Was it YouTube?
Yeah, it was the YouTube. Yeah. They started it.
Now it's everywhere. Everybody does Estes. That's the best thing, that when you come to an investigation, that's what they want. I want to do Estes. I want to do Estes.
I run the rotation and I'll go, all right, now who's never heard of Estes? And I used to get a lot of hands. Now I only get like 1 or 2, a couple. I'm like, all right, perfect. I loved hearing that.
Here's the thing.
Because then when I'm doing my spiel, they understand. I'm teaching.
Here's the thing I like about Estes. So if I have just a regular spirit box and I'm running around like Zach Baggins from mid-2000s, and I'm just like, everything out in the open, and you have somebody standing there and it says, Dan. Dude, did you hear that? It said Dan. Did you hear that? Well, now, of course, you heard that it said Dan because I told you that it said Dan. Your mind is going to hear what you're told. It's like one of those like videos where you watch the crowd like cheering at like a soccer game, and it's like, if you read what it says, like, this is embarrassing something,
that's what you hear.
And what is just
your mind. That's the thing with EVPs. When people tell you at the bottom, when you hear an EVP on a video and they type out, let it go, and then that's all you hear now is let it go.
Anytime someone goes, oh, watch this EVP or listen to this EVP, I go,
she closes her eyes.
I close my eyes.
Because she don't want to hear no words or see any words.
I don't want to see any words. I don't want to see you doing something. Like, people like show videos. They're like, you'll hear this whisper. I don't want to see you playing with the doll and then hear doll, because I'm like, okay, well, you were playing. I literally will close my eyes. I'm like, I don't want to. I just want to see what I can hear.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Estes is great because of the fact that the person who is saying the word, they're only saying what they're hearing. So they have no idea what the context is.
Yep.
And also to let people know too is when you have the noise canceling headphones on, you can hear the bass,
vibration.
the vibration of people talking, but you can't hear what they're saying.
You shouldn't be able to.
Right. You could still kind of hear that. Like there's people, it's muffled. Like I know people are saying stuff because some people get loud when they start asking questions. They feel like they have to shout. And I'm like, you don't have to shout. She has headphones on. She don't have to hear. We don't want her to hear the question, you know? And we've also done dual Estes when we had two people in the same room doing it. And oh my God, the stuff that
you have
we get
to watch the Sally House.
Yeah. We were at Arcade Academy and Maddie was doing it with Laura and they both at the same time said the exact same thing to the one question. And we were like, they were like in a gymnasium and we were like, you could see all the people looking at both of them like, holy cow, they just answered the same question at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely crazy. I think it's one of the better milestones. One of the better things that we've done.
We do have great Estes methods great Estes sessions at MSP.
Yeah.
We've had some
Where would you
really
say
good
the hot
ones.
zones are for that?
Anywhere.
Or would you not be able to pin it anywhere? Okay.
Yeah. Anywhere they are ready to talk.
Yeah, they want to talk.
They want to talk. They love that. They know. I don't even have to. There at MSP, I never have to really explain what's going on. They're ready. I've done it in. I usually run the Estes rotation and the Phasma or Necrophonics rotation. I run that rotation. I've done that rotation in D3, Death Row, General Population. I've done it. I've personally done Estes in A Hall and Women's. I would say anywhere. They just want to talk everywhere. I've done it in the gas chambers too. They talk in the gas chambers.
Chambers or chamber?
Chamber, wherever. Hey.
Well,
There's only one.
We were talking a little bit about the gas chamber before we started recording, and that's a very solemn place. You know, it's
yes.
I went in there. Everybody else was just fascinated. They wanted to sit down in the the chair and everything. Because if you guys don't know, the Missouri State Penitentiary has their gas chamber is literally like a cylinder room that kind of has a swinging door that kind of looks like in a submarine, you know, where the latches, and you sit inside that cylinder and then they close the latches and they lock it up, they tie you up, and they basically just drop gas in there and it gasses you, kills you.
It's a big metal. It closes and locks.
Yeah, it's very final.
And you get to sit in it. When you go there, you get to sit in there. And it has two chairs. Not one. It has two. Madison, why does it have two chairs?
At one point, they had a boyfriend and girlfriend named Bonnie and Carl, and they decided that they were going to do them at the same. They were going to execute them at the same time, and that's why they have the two chairs.
She was the very first woman to ever be on death row in the state of Missouri and be executed.
Wow.
Yep, that's why there's two
and
chairs.
There's a rumor that she told Carl, because he was crying and whining, that she told him to buck up.
Yeah, buck up. She was hard.
She was a hard woman, boy.
Yeah.
You see a picture of her. Whew. She was a hard woman.
Wow.
Did you cover that in the first episode?
I will.
Bonnie and Carl?
Yeah, no, I had it on my list of in my notes. So I was going to cover them because it was a very unique. It was almost like a Bonnie and Clyde type situation.
Oh
yeah, and it's got a weird, like, the money has still never been found.
Yep.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
again,
And a lot of police. There's a lot of police active, and that's just really weird about that too. So
yeah, I didn't set foot in there, but I did get a vibe, and yeah, it was great. I'd love to go back in there and maybe do a little bit more EVPs, maybe get the courage to actually sit down in the chair. But it's something about being in a chair and knowing that so many people died in that exact spot right there. They didn't replace the chair with something different. It was that chair.
Ryder, I never thought about that. Now that's kind of creepy.
You set your daughter in that chair and then closed the door and left the building in there.
I never really thought about it like that. I just always thought it was chairs, I was just like,
oh,
and now I think about it, I'm like, yeah, how many people? 44.
44.
44 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I often sometimes think about that. I was getting a tour of our evidence room, and in one area, you just see a box of just firearms, like rows of boxes that are specifically have firearms in them. And it's like every single one of those weapons was used either in a suicide or in a homicide. Where I work, there's not a lot of homicides. But when it comes to the suicides, it can go back to the family. 9 times out of 10, the family goes, "Oh, hell no." And then it ends up in evidence until they get destroyed or whatnot. We destroy our weapons. But until then, they're sitting in an evidence room. And it's like, you look at that and it's like, somebody died for each and every single one of those. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's kind of mind-blowing. Yeah, mind-blowing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a agency that I used to work for, or work with. I didn't work for them, but I worked with them. And I got a tour of their evidence room. And in their evidence room, they have these black, like what you'd buy at like Home Depot, these black tubs, right? Like what you put Christmas decorations in. And in one room, they're just stacked from floor to ceiling. And I'm like, "What are those?" And he goes, "We can't get rid of those." And I said, "Why can't we get rid of them? What are they?" He goes, "Every single one of those is a murder."
Wow.
Every single one of those are murders. He says the oldest ones that we have goes back to the 40s. Because it's everything put together in these boxes, and they're labeled with a case number. And then if you went into their computer system and you looked up their obviously it's not a computer system that's open to the public, but you could run and they track every single time they move these things. But almost all evidence rooms have a time limit on when certain things get destroyed or thrown away or, whatever.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations end. And murders, however, never, ever get thrown away. That and rapes. The rape kits are smaller, though, so it's easier to keep those in one area. But, yeah, because there's no statute of limitations, So,
wow.
Yeah, got kind of humbled a little bit.
Yeah.
I have to tell you a story when we're not recording. To tell you a story about evidence room. We went to a jail in Indiana that had a full evidence room still available to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have video of walking through looking at all kinds of stuff.
And just breaking a bunch of laws.
Yeah.
Because
they left it there.
Laws.
They just
they
abandoned the jail.
Yeah.
They just left all that stuff there. It was weird.
Wow. Yeah. Well, so we've now been going on for about an hour and 15 minutes. I should probably start wrapping us up.
Okay.
But do you guys have any last thoughts about Missouri State Pen specifically, or?
I would say if you get the chance to go, don't pass on it. If you want to experience it with us, with a group, I know there's 2 different ways. I know when you take the tour, they kind of follow you around. They get you, they let you go. If you come with a paranormal group, they pretty much let you just free for all.
Being your own
investigator and stuff. They don't want no one's following you around. Definitely take the chance to definitely go. It has a lot of rich history. If you like looking at the history, you have Bonnie and Carl, which is the very first kidnapping in Missouri, and stuff. And you have Firefly, who spent
17 years?
17 years underground with no sunlight. And he's even wrote a book because he set fire to a church that killed some people. And they put him in the dungeon in MSP and just left him there. He, if you read his book, he used to take a button every day and throw it in the room and try to find the room so he wouldn't go insane. He would try to find the button in the room in the dark. And you get to go in those cells, and those are like so just,
Yeah.
it's just weird because, they say the 47 bloodiest acres, that prison was not meant for comfort.
Nope.
At all. They didn't build that to be like, hey, you're going to have a, 3 square meals and, you get to do what you want.
Mhm.
People suffered that committed crimes there. It was rough there back in the day. It got better as time went on because laws changed and they couldn't treat prisoners the way that they did back then. But yeah, it's definitely energy. Definitely you cannot go in that place and not get some kind of paranormal activity.
And every I've been there 6 times, Dad's been there like 13 times. Every time you go there, it's a new experience. I don't think I've really, a couple times you'll get like the same names that come across or you'll meet the same spirits, but every time you go there, you meet a new spirit. You talk to somebody new, you learn a different story. And I think Missouri State Penitentiary offers something that not a lot of places here in Missouri offer. And like Dad said, you get the history, but just the amount of stories that you learn about these spirits, and sometimes they tell you, if you're in a really good connection and a conversation with them, you learn some really good things that you probably wouldn't have been able to research and find out. And you're like, that actually adds up. Like, you think about the time that they were there and, the other stories you hear, and it's...
Well, I mean, the man that assassinated Martin Luther King, he was in Missouri State Penitentiary. He escaped from there. If he doesn't escape from that prison, that changes time. Who knows that he wouldn't have, assassinated him.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a lot of rich history. I do say that if you do go there, learn prison lingo.
Yeah.
Take ramen, take cigarettes as gifts. They love cigarettes. You just leave a cigarette there, don't light it. They don't, but if you leave a cigarette there, it might be weird, but to them, that's a gift. That's something they act and interact with you a little bit more if you leave them cigarettes or ramen. Just think prison-wise, like things that you see in prison, that's like what you want to communicate with them because that's what they know. So they tend to interact a little bit more better with you when you bring them not prizes, but gifts. And it's gifts for them, so.
Yeah, I can only wonder what's going to happen when a police officer walks in there.
We've had a police officer and they've grabbed it. She had her keys, her car keys hanging on, clipped on her pants. And she had her, and she felt like somebody went to go touch him. And she backed, and she was standing right by where the guards used to, like, their area where they have like their office just for like that building.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. They know.
Oh, they know. They'll
They
know.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right.
They can tell.
Well, where can where can our listeners find you or follow you and stuff like that?
Our podcast is on every other Tuesday now, on YouTube. We're Haunted Soulz Paranormal, Souls with a Z, on YouTube. But any tickets or anything that we're at or any events, those are going to be at hauntedsouls.com. And that's where all of our tickets are, all of our events, all of our fundraisers, anything that we do. We have a trivia night coming up. So that's where we have all of our information about that for Stray Rescue here in St. Louis, and Paw Stoppers. So anything that we do fundraiser wise, charity events, that's all going to be our website. But we also have a Facebook, Haunted Soulz.
Haunted Soulz Paranormal LLC is our Facebook name.
Yep.
And Soulz is Soulz. We're always different. We put the
Across
Z.
all platforms.
Yeah, across all platforms. If you ever got information, you can email us at info@hauntedsouls.com. If you have any questions, anything like that, you want to, I get questions and phone calls all hours of the night. So yeah, if you want to find us, come check us out on Tuesday nights. We are live. When we do our video podcast, we are live.
Yep.
Come in and join. That's on our YouTube page. And we have a fun time. You can just come and hang out.
Yeah.
And
That is awesome. That is awesome. I love that you guys do the charities. That's cool.
yes.
Yeah.
We give
Yeah.
back to our community very much a lot. We do work with St. Louis Stray Rescue. This is our second year with them. We also do some stuff down in Arcadia Academy down there with we have ghost hunts there at the academy down there, and they do a lot of stuff. This Christmas we're doing like breakfast with Santa and toys and stuff like that. So
Breakfast with Santa and then dinner with Krampus.
yeah, we are actually we are doing a Krampus haunted. We are doing a Krampus Halloween because they do have a haunted house in October there.
Mhm.
So we're actually going to do the Krampus thing in December. We're going to do one weekend of Krampus.
Themed Christmas.
Haunted house, yeah.
Yeah,
in
I feel like I'm going to
December,
have to
so.
get with you guys and go on some haunted house explorations. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're looking for volunteers. They're always looking for people to come down and help. So we'll be working the haunted house. We don't have a lot going on in October. We were pretty packed last year.
We have a lot of weddings this year.
Yeah, we have a lot of weddings to go to this year. But
People in the paranormal.
yeah, but we
I
will
used
be
to-
working down there.
I used to work in haunted houses. So
Yep.
haunted Halloween Horror Nights. So 2017, when I was out in LA, I
Ooh.
worked for Universal Studios
And
and I did
those are the
Halloween Horror
badass
Nights.
ones.
Yeah, they had a
Those
lot
are
of
good
money.
ones.
But I honestly, I like the smaller ones because I did Freddy Krueger at the time. I was in the Freddy Krueger section or whatnot, and they were so restrictive on what we could do because of the IP. You couldn't like
Mhm.
interfere with the IP, so you couldn't do anything that Freddy wouldn't do. And like you couldn't talk because you weren't authorized to talk. Only certain
Right.
Freddys were allowed to talk, and it was stupid. And I'm like, come on now. So, but it was great. It was fun. It was a fun experience.
We used to
But-
have one that had Freddy Krueger when he first came out, a haunted house that we worked at, and it had chains that hanging down in the room,
Mhm.
and they had a glove that was like a welding thing. As soon as you hit the chains, it would spark with his claws and
Yep.
stuff like that. It was kind of cool. Or
Yep.
would
We
run it
were-
across the table.
My only call to fame that I was so happy about, and I broke the rules, and I didn't give a crap that I did it. No one caught me, but I broke the rules. So they would have VIPs. It was through the tram section.
Mhm.
And so you would walk out of, you'd get off the tram, you'd be chased by a bunch of little Chuckies, and then you would walk up past the actual Bates motel, and that was converted to be like Camp Crystal Lake, right? And so like you walk through a maze, and then you got Jason, and then you'd walk up the hill up by the actual mansion, the house for Bates. You'd walk past that, then you would go through like this kill chute of nothing but Texas Chainsaw. And then as you came out, you would hear the Nightmare on Elm Street music. And now you're in this big section that is literally an actual 747 jumbo jet. Okay.
Oh, wow.
For those of you who don't know planes, think of Air Force One. That plane, except commercial. And it's completely destroyed. It looks like it crashed, and you're in this neighborhood that's just completely destroyed. It was from the movie War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise.
Mm.
And as you're walking through, everyone that you see is Freddy. Everyone. So there's like a mom pushing a stroller with a baby Freddy, and mom's a Freddy. And it's like you walked into this nightmare. I played the pilot. So I'm dressed up as a pilot, but I've got Freddy's face, and I've got the claws, and they were actual metal. And you're just walking along this path, and the path is lined with those. They're like gates that you put up at concerts and stuff. They're like small gates that you can just throw around. Yeah,
Yeah.
those things. So I would come up and I would click them, pop, 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 as I'd come up behind somebody. But I had to stay a certain distance. I couldn't get right up on them. Well, the VIPs came through, and one of the VIPs was Justin Bieber. And I scared that boy. Because
Scared
I
that
came
haircut right off him.
I came right up behind him, and I got within inches, and his body person started coming up from my left side, and I was like, Justin, with the thing. And he was like, oh my God. And he like went over to the left or whatnot and was like, that was great. Da da da. And like kept going. And I'm like, cool. And luckily no one saw that because
I made that Justin Bieber swoosh move the other side.
Well, what I ended up doing was I was talking with a buddy of mine who was also a Freddy because we'd rotate shifts. We couldn't be out there for so long because it would get too hot. So we'd go behind the chute, right next to the Norman Bates house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd just be relaxing. I'd be leaning up against his house and be like, oh, I gotta like cool off. And then it occurred to me, because I'm a huge horror fan, it occurred to me and I'm like, holy crap, this is the Bates house. Like I'm leaning up against cinema history. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I shouldn't lean up against it.
You're like, I should not touch it at all.
Yeah. But I'll send you guys some of the clips. There's a ghost story that was told to us, and it's a true story. Like people have literally had experiences.
Yeah.
The whole cast, we were at between the motel and the house along the psychopath. Psychopath is literally the path that goes up to the house. It's wider at the bottom, it gets smaller as it goes up for perspective. And the nickname is Psychopath. So we're in that area, and one of the last nights that we did it, they told the story of Sykes, who was there was a plane crash that really did occur. It killed a pilot. It was for the Universal Studios grand opening or something. They were doing a stunt. The pilot had literally just learned the day before that his friend had died in a crash. And then he ends up dying in a crash. And his name is Sykes. And the thing is that people have encountered him along that hillside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'll send you the video. I still have videos somewhere where it's our managers or whatnot telling us the story. And there's a thing, like if you work Halloween Horror Nights, there's a like psych. We all say psych. That's a thing,
Yeah.
And it was a true story. It really did happen. And there were actual, when all the jokes are aside and you guys are sitting back and in the green rooms and stuff and talking, it's like, no, there's real stuff that happens and it's actually active. Universal itself is very active.
Oh yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
That's kind of like ASHMORE States used to be. ASHMORE States in Illinois.
Yeah.
It used to be a haunted house before Rob and Terry bought it. And it was an old poor farm, and it was an actual haunted house. And it's haunted. And people would say in the haunted house, they'd be like, man, on that third floor when you have that guy goes through the wall, they're like, that's amazing. How did you do that? And they're like, no, we don't have
no one's supposed to go to that wall.
There's no guy that goes through a wall or nothing. And people have actually seen the spirits, like, during the haunted house and stuff. So
yeah,
there's a lot of people, if you watch TikTok, there's a lot of people investigate haunted houses because I don't know if it's the energy, the energy from that being scared and the adrenaline and stuff and that.
But. So this is a true crime story. When I would get bored, I went out to LA alone, and I had no family, no nothing. I kind of developed a West Coast family, and I'm still very tight to them this day. I don't think I would have made it without them, but I would get off work and I'd be so tired, but I couldn't go to sleep, and so I just had to go do something. And so, I'm trying to think of the name of the area. It's just north of West Hills. So if you're looking at a map in the San Fernando Valley, just north of West Hills, there's it's Clay something. Or I don't know. I forget what it's called, but I was driving up in those hills, and there's one spot where you could kind of get up in there and, you can kind of overlook the valley, like what you'd see in movies, And I'm listening to this podcast episode, Helter Skelter, talking about the famous murders in '69. Yeah, of the Manson family. And they were like, oh yeah, they took over, the Manson, the cult was basically living at the Spahn Ranch up in, it was a old filming ranch where a lot of Westerns from the 40s and 50s were filmed. And blah, 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 blah. It was a movie ranch. Oh, cool. Well, that's a little bit of Hollywood history. So I'm sitting in my car in the middle of the night, by the way, looking up at the stars, up in the hills. And I'm like, where is this? Click, click, click. And I put it on Google. I type in Spahn Ranch. And that thing says it's 250 feet from me. I am in Spahn Ranch.
Oh, Jesus. You're like, well,
I'm here.
Goosebumps, because I had just learned that there was multiple bodies that were found up there. And there's believed to be more bodies up there that the Mansons killed.
You're like, well, I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
I said, I'm gonna go ahead and put this car in drive. I think it's time to go home and go to bed.
First reverse, then we're gonna go.
Yeah. So, but I had tons of stories with the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary was my go-to ghost base, I guess you could say. But
Yeah.
I will
That's
say
Maddie's
that.
bucket list.
Yeah, it's one of my places I've always wanted to go to. It's on my bucket list.
Okay, so basically, I can find you guys on your website, right?
Yes.
For the most part. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I will include
Website,
a link.
Facebook.
Yeah, I will include a link in there. I realized that I said that we were wrapping this up, and then all of a sudden we went down a tangent. But hey, that's a part of it. So
Welcome to our world.
Yep.
So I will definitely keep it in there, though. So for Crypt Walkers, you can find us basically anywhere you get your podcasts. We are on Facebook with Crypt Walkers as the name. We're not very active yet on Facebook. It's just, I basically just created it not too long ago, but you can check us out there. More than likely, one of our first posts will be about the Missouri State Penitentiary, mostly because I feel like it's a lot easier to make that my home base for now. But whatever, sometimes the kids say, oh, Facebook is for old people. Well, I'm one of those people. So anyway, I don't know about you guys, but please follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to leave a review, give us like, whatever. If you could, also stick around, because at the very end of this episode is going to be the trailer for our next case. Thanks again for listening, and thank you so much, Dan and Maddie, for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
It has been a blast. And until next time, guys, Ryder out.
Next time on Crypt Walkers.
This is not your ordinary haunting. This time on Crypt Walkers, we're packing up our gear and heading straight into the backwoods of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to hunt down one of the most terrifying and legendary cryptids of American history. We're diving deep into the bizarre true crime timeline of the legend of the Mothman. We'll be breaking down the original 1966 eyewitness accounts of a towering winged humanoid with glowing red eyes, exploring the abandoned TNT military bunkers where it hid, and unraveling the chilling connection between the creature and the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge. We're going to be looking at the government cover-ups, the Men in Black sightings, and the terrifying theory that this entity wasn't just a monster, but a harbinger of doom. You guys thought the prison was dark. Just wait until we step into the woods of West Virginia. Make sure your notifications are turned on, guys, because you are not going to want to miss this case. Case 15, The Legend of the Mothman, airs Wednesday, August 5th, wherever you get your podcasts.